What's up, guys? Welcome to another album review. Thanks for checking out the channel, and we're just gonna jump right into it. Today we're talking about the Chainsmokers. Let's hit it. Again, guys, welcome back to another album review. If you're new, I appreciate you joining us today, and if you're coming back, you know what you're in for. I know you guys aren't idiots, and by now you already know that we're gonna be talking about the Chainsmokers' new release, Memories Do Not Open. This EDM pop duo was formed in 2012, and it currently consists of Andrew Taggart and Alex Paul. Although the band has gained a lot of popularity since they began, starting with their infamous song Selfie in 2014, this is their first full-length studio album. They have done a lot of singles throughout the years, and they also have a couple of EPs under their belt. Many of you will know them by their songs Closer, I think it's just Closer, and then that song #selfie, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure you guys will know as featured here.
But first, let me take a selfie.
But enough jacking around, let's get into this album. And of course, for you new listeners, I'm just gonna preface this review with the fact that I am a big rock and metal fan, so just know that I'm coming from that perspective of that type of listener. Memories Do Not Open is about 12 tracks long and it runs about 43 minutes. Track number 1, The One. This song is unfortunately not about Keanu Reeves' character in The Matrix, but despite my disappointment in that fact, it's not a bad song. It actually isn't even really an EDM song for over half of it. It's actually a piano ballad for the majority of the track's length, and around 1 minute and 45 seconds is when the heavy bass and synth pop in and making it an EDM track. Lyrically, the song is about Taggart being all consumed by his work and that kind of taking a huge effect on his relationships with the people that he loves. And it's not too shabby of a track. Track number 2, Break Up Every Night.
She wants to break up every night.
Coming right out of the gate, this track definitely has a higher energy than The One. This song basically talks about staying in a really shitty relationship just because the sex is good. Aside from this inspirational theme of the lyrics, the song is actually kind of catchy, and it ends in this epic culmination of the musicality that's been sprinkled throughout. And if the lyrics were actually pretty decent, it would probably actually be a pretty phenomenal ending. Track number 3 is called Bloodstream. We begin again with some of that sweet, sweet piano. I will give these guys that. Coming from my sort of unique perspective, they are really good at creating these piano pieces. The duo definitely stays on the pop side of things with this track. I don't really like the choice to say I like 7 times in a row to keep the rhythm of the track going in some of the lyrics, but the lyrics aren't too bad in this song. The song is obviously about someone being pretty down about a breakup, drinking themselves into a slumber, and essentially saying like, yeah, those things that I said were pretty fucked up, but I meant it all, which is a pretty bold statement that I'm sure a lot of us wish that we could have made at some point in our lives. Track number 4, Don't Say. This track features frequent collaborator Emily Warren, who I'm pretty sure is also on track number 1, but for some reason she's not directly attributed in track number 1 as she is in this one. And I really enjoy Emily's voice for this track. The story is being told from the perspective of someone in a relationship that's about to be broken up with, and that person pretty much just says like, well, wait the fuck up, like, I don't need to keep hearing your excuses. Don't feed me this bullshit about why you're breaking up with me, you piece of shit. But in nicer terms. Emily's voice is definitely the highlight of this song. They repeat the words "don't say" a little bit too much for my liking, but that's kind of super nitpicky on my part. The synth melody is pretty catchy throughout the song, and again, this doesn't really sound like a typical Chainsmokers song, where it's more of like a slow burn instead of like a fast-paced bass pumping track. Track number 5.
I've been reading books of old.
Something Just Like This. This was one of the songs that was released early off of the album, and it features Coldplay vocalist Chris Martin. And interestingly enough, this is also going to be featured on Coldplay's new EP that's coming out later this year. That's pretty interesting. I haven't really seen that done a whole lot. I'm a personal fan of Chris Martin's voice, so pretty much it's a kind of guarantee that I'm going to enjoy this song. His voice definitely elevates this song to a higher level. A lot of good lyrics in this one. It's definitely a love song where the main character feels like he has to become this superhero with all of these powers to impress/win over this girl, when in reality she doesn't want all that. She just wants someone to like come home to and someone to miss. Aw, how sweet. This track is definitely one of those songs that's going to make you want to move. Definitely one that people are going to want to dance to. Track number 6.
You don't gotta say it, I know you ain't staying over.
My Type. Again, this features Emily Warren. So right out of the gate, I know I'm expecting some more of that lovely singing that she's had already on the tracks that she's been featured on. However, her singing technique is a little bit different in this song, and I'm not really digging it. So far, this is my least favorite track on the album. Nothing really big to say on it. Flying under my radar. The music and the lyrics are kind of meh, so we're just gonna move right along. Track number 7. It Won't Kill Ya, featuring French artist Luann, I believe it's pronounced. She actually appeared on France's version of The Voice. Although she didn't win, she still definitely has a good voice for this genre of music. Although this one starts off kind of slow, the EDM genre definitely pops in and out here and there, and it's super catchy. As someone who's not a huge EDM fan, I think it's thrust in there pretty well.
That's what she said!
And the transition to it doesn't really seem that forced at all. The tempo is still a little bit slower on this song, so you probably won't be jumping around to it. And lyrically, it's portraying the situation where you see a stranger in the club or out at a bar or something, and you're really into them, and you just kind of want to like dance with them, essentially. Track number 8.
We were staying in Paris.
Paris. This was another single that was released kind of early for this album. Again, this features Emily Ward on it, but she's not attributed directly. There's actually a documented reason why they didn't attribute her, and it's because her voice was used as more of an effect, apparently. Although I think that she definitely has parts that are just her, but that's kind of beside the point. Most of her singing is repeating what the lead singer is saying throughout the song, and personally, I'm not really into this track. I believe the lyrics are telling the classic story of where the girl's parents don't really like the boy she's with, and so they run off. It's a classic tale, but nothing special here, so that's that. Too much repetitiveness musically in this track for me to be too fond of it. Track number 9. Is called Honest. So Andrew has kind of a unique voice, I will admit that, but most of these slower songs kind of start off with the same vocal technique and melodies, I think, from him, so they all kind of blend together and get a little bit old after a while. I just wanted to note that. I don't like the chorus of the song because, again, it's a little too repetitive and not very creative in my eyes. In the lyrics, Andrew is definitely telling us that there's someone back home that he misses, and yet that person isn't the only one on their mind. Kind of a slap to the face to someone, I think. Also in the lyrics, he states that he doesn't like the road, but he's on the radio, and that's why he's doing it. Or he alludes to something along those lines, and I think that's kind of hypocritical of him, because back in, like, track 1, the one, he's talking about how he just wants to be working and consumed by his work, even though it's affecting his relationships. Mystery. In conclusion for this track, I don't really like it. Track number 10. It's called Wake Up, and it features Janae Aiko, I think is how you pronounce her name. You know, there have been 3 featured female artists on this album so far, and I personally can't really distinguish them. Which, sure, that's because they're in the same genre, obviously, but there are plenty of people in the music industry that you can tell who the hell is singing. So, I don't know, they could have done a little bit better job of picking different people for their featured artists. I don't know, is that just me? Anyone? This song has an electronic-heavy post-chorus that is pretty catchy, and the lyrics were talking about questioning the fact of whether someone is with you for the right reasons, or if it's just because you have money or fame, or whatever else you might have. There's this weird, slowed-down synth ending to this song, and it's just totally out of place for me. It feels really unnatural, and it was a bad decision in my eyes. But what do I know? Track number 11 is called Young. It's about being young. You know how I said the singer's vocals were kind of indistinguishable when he starts off some of the songs? Well, slap me silly, because they tell me to fuck off at the beginning of this song, and that all changes. The singing in the beginning, although it's not my favorite style of singing, is definitely new and refreshing compared to the other songs that have come before it. Acoustic guitar is featured heavily in the beginning of this track, and then around a minute in, it turns into a full-on EDM dance song. And then it just kind of rinses and repeats. Something I find kind of weird in the lyrics is that he says, like, all those nights when we snuck out, like, to meet at the bar. Like, why the hell are you still sneaking out when you're 21? You're a goddamn adult. Again, the song's about being young. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, last and definitely least, to me, Last Day Alive.
Run into the bright lights.
This track features country duo Florida Georgia Line. Oh no. Country duo. Oh no. Please. Oh no. Please no. Okay. I got scared there that this was gonna be a super country sounding track. That would have been the last day that this album was alive in my brain, you know what I mean? New listeners are probably like, what the hell is going on with this guy? So funny. This song, like the track Honest, showcase some of the biggest issues I have with mainstream pop music these days, and that's just the repetitive nature of the lyrics. Especially in the chorus, these songwriters know how to hook people. They just write a bunch of repeated lyrics, that way it gets stuck in your head, and you, even whether you really like the track or not, you know what to sing, you know what to shout, you know what's coming next. I'm not impressed with this track as a closing one, and I'm guessing there's an analogy here of like living every day like it's your last. Cliche message, cliche lyrics, 2 thumbs down from me. Okay, so the quality of the album definitely dipped as we went on, which is kind of typical of a pop album. You kind of want to start off heavy and get people's attention. You want to hit the fans with the good stuff first. As a non-traditional listener of this type of music, there were definitely good moments on the album, but would I personally call it a good album? Probably not. Would a lot of other people call it a good album? Probably, unfortunately. If I had to pick a favorite track, I would probably pick the one that features Chris Martin, Something Just Like This. Least favorite, mostly because it ended the album really poorly and it's not a good song even in itself, was Last Day Alive. We did it, guys. We're at the end of the album review. I want to know what your favorite tracks were in the comments below. Tell me how much you hate me for my views on this album. Again, overall didn't really enjoy it that much. And what do you guys want me to review next? Just know I am going to be reviewing the Gorillaz' new album that's coming out later this month. So massage that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with my stuff. Drop a like, share with your friends, and again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should the Chainsmokers have just stuck to making singles? That was actually working out pretty well for them, I thought. I don't know. But now get out of here. Go watch another video or something. And rock on.